Hey friends, welcome back. I tried to do this last time. I tried to record creating an EC2 inside of AWS, but I was recording the wrong screen. So I thought I'd come back and try it again. So I am making sure I'm recording the right screen this time. So when you come in AWS and you set up your account and do all of that, your kind of landing screen is going to look similar to this. If you want to take a look at all of the services that AWS has to offer, come up here and click services. And this is basically all of the services that they have. And you can see that there's like 100 services here that you can take a look at, play around with, get to know a little bit better. But today we're just going to be playing around with the EC2. I mentioned in the last video that EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, and it's AWS's virtual server. So if you click on that, it'll bring you to this screen where you can set up your own virtual server in the cloud. And it's not very difficult. What you'll do is you'll come over here to the left-hand side, and EC2s in AWS are called instances. So if you want to create or spin up, as they call it, a virtual server, you would come over here and click instances. So what the instance is basically is a virtual computer that you're running inside of your AWS account. So like I mentioned in my last video, you know, in the days of old, you would have to go to a computer shop, Dell, Microsoft, wherever, and build out the specs of the computer that you wanted, the amount, the hard drive, the memory, all of that stuff. Now you just do it inside of this cloud service provider. So you would come up here and click launch instance. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to pick the machine image that you want your instance to run with. So a machine image, think of that as an operating system. If you have an iPhone, you have the iOS, the iPhone operating system. It's basically what gives your phone its sauce. And I don't have a better term for it, but it's what, you know, creates the layouts and the user interfaces and how you interact with all the different apps. That's all built into the operating system. So if you come in here, it's the same thing. So you have your very basic kind of Linux operating systems, all the other flavors of Linux, as well as Windows. So if you are really loyal to Windows, you can come in here and build a virtual Windows server. So the Linux ones are basically free. So when you sign up, you will be free tier eligible. I don't think I have the free tier anymore, but kind of stick with the ones that fall under the free tier. So that'll be your Linux ones. So don't worry about the bit, because this is just a very basic overview of getting started with a virtual machine. And so go to your Linux and select. And so this is where you kind of put the pieces together of what you want your virtual server to do and act and behave. These are going to be your families. Families, you can kind of briefly read the description of what the family does. The type, the virtual CPUs, the amount of memory, and the type of storage. And then maybe you want to keep in mind the network performance, because if you want to, for whatever reason, come in here and build a virtual server to play games on for Steam games or whatever, you might want to kind of pay attention to how the network performance is, because that's going to determine how much lag you have while you're playing your game. So, you know, we're just going to stick with just the basic general purpose because it's free. And you can kind of go in and configure if you're really, you know, if you really want to personalize it, you can come into the configure instance and really play around with all of the settings and customize it and run a bash script and do all of those technical things. But for now, we're just gonna do the basic. We're not gonna add any storage. We're just gonna use the storage that's there. If you come in here and add tags, Tags are just a way to kind of organize your resources in AWS, give them names so that you remember who created them, when you need to delete them, how much they cost, so that when your bill comes, you know who's responsible for what. And then your security group is, how are you allowing traffic in and out of this virtual server that you just made? So who do you want to have access to it? Do you want the whole world to have access to it? Do you just want you and your friends to have access to it? You would come in and configure those security rules here. But we're just making a very basic one. So we're gonna leave the default rules, and then we're just gonna hit review and launch. And then it'll bring up kind of everything that we just configured right here. So you can double check it, make sure it's to your liking, and just hit launch. And when you launch, all of the EC2s get launched with a key pair, and that's another layer of security. So think of the key pair as just a really high level password that you use to kind of get in and out of it. Because when you launch it, you're able to log into it by way of what's called SSH, secured shell. And you can go in and configure it, install a bunch of stuff on it, and do whatever it is you want to do on it. So if you have a key already in your account, you can use that. If you don't, it'll prompt you to create a key. But I already have one, so we'll just click launch instance. And there I am. I'm building a computer in the cloud. It sounds way more intense than it actually is. If you click on the instance ID number, it'll take you back to the window, and then you can kind of see it being created right here. And then if you click on this, you can give it a name. My first VM, my first virtual machine, and there you go. And now it's running, and you can check and look down here for all of the additional details, and there you go. You just made your first instance. So give it a try. It's not that hard. It sounds way more intimidating than it actually is. I'll do another one of these cloud chat series where we actually maybe SSH into the instance so you can see like what it looks like on the inside and install something like that. But for now, just wanted to fill in the missing pieces of the last video and encourage everyone to, get on there, learn some AWS, learn some cloud, and start building things. All right, bye.